Hello, today the topic that I'm going to present is global manufacturing and material management. Nowadays, it is difficult to find a product produced in only one country, especially some electronic products. When we trace back a simple cell phone, we might find that the production is a complex process that several countries are involved. Some components are made in one country and some of them come from another one. People now believe that a product can and should be produced among different countries. However, global manufacturing is not an easy process and decision for a firm. In fact, global manufacturing is a relatively new thing. In the 1970s, some Western firms decided to outsource some of their businesses to developing countries for the reason that the labor cost is lower than Western countries. Because at that time, in some of developing countries, they already have the basic infrastructure for Western firms to put some investments there. However, this kind of activities can be just seen as finding a better place for some labor-intense industries, because at that time, the communication technology did not allow people to communicate among different countries efficiently, or in another word, just in time. The poor communication between decision-making department and production department cause high inventory and cost in production. Because the firm has to wait a long period for the response from the production department. So the global manufacturing stays in a low level before the emergence of Internet. During the 1990s, the rapid development of Internet provides an opportunity for some multinational corporations to manage their manufacturing departments around the world in a real simple, efficient, and just-in-time way. Until then, global manufacturing became realistic. Multinational corporations can now decide how many and when their products should be produced according to the current needs from customers and manage their manufacturing departments across the world 24 hours a day. Today, an American businessman can control its factories in Asian countries in any place of the world easily, just like controlling factories in the next door. Because global manufacturing has been a necessary skill for a firm to compete in a global context, every business has to participate in global manufacturing. But now, they are facing a buy or make decision when they decide to manufacture globally. Buy and make represents two ways of sourcing in the global manufacturing process. Make means the firm decides to produce the components itself. A lot of multinational corporations have factories in more than one country. The purpose is to use low labor costs in developing countries to pursue larger profit. Buy means a firm outsources some components that will go into their final products to other firms, which means the firm does not need to produce those components itself, but at the same time it can enjoy the low production costs in the developing countries. Both buy and make have their own advantages and disadvantages. If a company decides to make. First, it has to put a great amount of investment on setting up the equipment and personnel that is required to produce the component. Second, the firm needs to take full risk of such investment. If, in the future, some unexpected situation happens, such as changes in consumer trend, all the investment may become useless at once. After all, the make decision would make the firm less flexible to face future challenges. However, make also would bring some benefits to the firm. The first one is the firm can manage the production better than outsourcing it to another firms. Even though the communication technology allows long-distance management on production, controlling another business is still more difficult than managing its own production departments. Some delay or conflict, which is likely to happen in the production management process, may lead to higher costs and lower profit. In addition, some business may not want their other firms to know their important technologies, because those technologies represent the core competition of a firm. For example, Boeing does not want to outsource its wing production to other firms, because Boeing considers the wing is the most vital component of an aircraft. If they outsource the wing production to another firm, this firm may become a potential competitor of Boeing. Hence, in order to maintain the competitive advantages, a firm should keep some important technology and components in-house, rather than outsourcing them. On the contrary, if a firm decides to buy, it will provide flexibility to the firm to face the changing environment better. Once the consumer needs change, the firm is able to shift its production quickly by changing a new supplier with a relatively low cost. By doing this, a firm can transfer part of its risk to its suppliers. Moreover, a firm cannot do everything well, so it would be more efficient and cost less to let other firms to do something that they are really good at. It is the main reason for most firms to outsource some of their business. However, buy too much might make the firm lose its power in the entire commodity chain, because its suppliers can gain greater margin power if the firm does not have any core technology in its house. In the recent years, considered as part of globalization, there are some critiques on global manufacturing. To most ordinary people, most of them consider global manufacturing is the reason for unequal distribution of wealth. Especially a lot of people in Western countries lost their jobs because their factories moved to other countries. They think those factories in Asia grasp their jobs away. They treat global manufacturing as an evil, which should be banned forever. Some extreme opinions, such as eat local, use local, appears to fight against this trend. However, even in developing countries, People who working in those factories does not receive a fair pay. Most of them still live in a very difficult situation. For example, an ordinary worker in the Foxconn factory, where iPhones are in fact produced, has to work over 10 hours a day to get an almost minimal wage. So they are not beneficiaries of global manufacturing. In the country's view, global manufacturing would result in industry shift. In the last 2 decades, several countries have already lost their core industry. For example, Italy and Spain used to be the shoe and leather producing center of the world, but now the shoe making and leather industry is almost disappeared in these two countries. Factories in China are producing relatively high quality products in an extreme low price. Countries like Italy and Spain have to find another industry for them. Otherwise, the high unemployment rate would harm the economy to a large extent. It is interesting to point out that both Italy and Spain are facing severe challenges in the last year. Their bad performance in the economy and high debt rate might make them unable to stay in the Eurozone. Hence, is it a really good thing to manufacture globally? Globalization is an unstoppable trend. Due to the nature of capital, which is to chase profit, capital will automatically flow to the place with the most profit. Since the wage level in developed countries has been too high, developing countries become a pool for business to pursue greater gross margin. But that is not the end of the world to developed countries. The competitive advantage of developed countries is having sufficient educated labor. Although some labor-intense industry moved away, Western countries should pay more effort in developing high-technology industries, such as biotechnology and renewable energy. After all, it is not realistic to avoid global manufacturing totally. But on the other hand, it provides opportunities and challenges to everybody of the world, including countries, companies, and individuals. Hence, developing countries should catch this trend to achieve redistribution of wealth, and at the same time, developed countries should maximize their advantages to maintain their leading position in the world. Thank you for your listen.